Oh, that was weird. Okay. Yeah. So two things to address when it comes to the idea of working out being something that like you don't have time for, or that you're putting off because you have all these other things that you have to do, versus making it a habit. And the key here is that we actually don't ever make it a habit. So your reframing of saying this gets to be my privilege, this gets to be something that I look forward to. Saying those things as a mantra is great because we want to step into that belief. And it's far better to have that belief than the belief that I don't have time, right?
Right.
How do we layer it in physiologically? Well, we want to create a scenario where we actually secrete a ton of dopamine in anticipation of the workout and during the workout, which you're going to naturally do anyway. And then also the runner's high experience of post-workout, where you have a euphoria in place, where you're secreting dopamine and endorphins and a little bit of adrenaline. When you create that chemical cocktail strategically, and I don't want you to miss this because this is so key. Dopamine is a highly addictive chemical that we produce.
Right.
And dopamine is what is kind of the biological culprit for any addiction. And what we want to do is we want to get dopamine to work for us, so
Right.
that the choices we make are in the best support of the goals that we're trying to achieve. And we anchor that in with dopamine. Okay, so let me give you the context here. When you're feeling down, when you're feeling icky, when you're feeling less than awesome, your happy chemicals obviously are low. And your happy chemicals include dopamine.
Right.
And so your body and your mind start kind of like working together to say, how could I feel happy right now? Now, let's say at some point, like maybe you were 18 and you were like feeling low and you're like, I'm going to go get a package of Oreos from my friend's dorm room and I'm going to eat them. And so you go on the hunt and you're in this seek. And so you start to secrete dopamine and a bunch of other feel-good chemicals on the hunt. And you start to feel better. You start to feel happy. And then you find the Oreos. And then you get another hit of dopamine because you're like, I achieved what I set out for. I'm on the hunt and I won. And this is like our prehistoric, brain.
Uh-huh.
And then you eat the Oreo. And you're like, yes, victory is mine. Task accomplished. And you get a flood of dopamine.
Mm-hmm.
And your body lights up. And we need dopamine to exist, like we need it. And so you have an affinity to want to create situations where you can get it, right? And especially when you start to dip. And in our world, we dip a lot because we're just stressed. We've got chronic cortisol going and we just don't have, we don't give ourselves a sense of achievement enough. So the next time, so here's what's really key to understand here, that as soon as you had that behavior and your body now imprinted that, now there's a neural pathway. So inside the nucleus of every cell of your body, your DNA has now created this shortcut messaging system to say like, oh, I feel lousy, I feel icky, I feel less than awesome, I need a hit of dopamine. Memory bank, where did we get a quick fix? Oreos. So you're setting this neural pathway up. So when your body goes to seek a dopamine hit, it's like dopamine equals Oreos.
Uh-huh.
So your DNA gets that internal information, dopamine is low, and then sends the message to the brain, dopamine is low, and your brain is like, process, pull out that memory from the file, Oreos equal dopamine. Find Oreos now.
Okay.
You see how people fall into habits where they link up these behaviors, or it's cocaine, or it's sex, or it's gambling, or it's shopping.
Ice cream.
Ice cream, right? It's because we get that hit of dopamine. And then it's not a habit. We never say, oh, like we might say I have this bad habit.
Right.
I have a serious addiction. But it's not like there's no effort involved, right?
Right.
So here's
and addiction is that's like cocaine. I mean, I used to work at a drug clinic. That's it, right? That's the whole cycle, is that the cocaine gives you the dopamine and you keep craving that dopamine and you keep taking more cocaine because you become immune to it, and it doesn't, it's horrible.
Well, yes. Well, when you're taking a drug like that, then your body builds up some immunity to that, and then you need more of it. And there are a whole bunch of other chemical reactions that go on that make drug addiction a little bit more complicated than an ice cream addiction. But it's the same process. It's the same process, and it's the same. In the long run, ice cream might kill you over 85 years. Right. Cocaine might kill you in a matter of months. But the point is that in that is a lesson, and here's the lesson. We have the power of choice. So we come back to the question of, what do we want? You want to live in a peaceful state inside the healthiest body, in a place where you fully trust your body and live in exquisite health.
Right.
So if that's what you want, then the next question is, does reaching for ice cream support that? No. Right. Does putting off my workouts because I don't have time support that? No. Does feeling nervous to work out and not working out support that? No. What will support that? Working out. What will support that? Putting nourishing foods in my body. Now that you've clearly connected that, all we have to do is set up the same dopamine connection so that you develop the neural pathway so that it's never a push, a fight, or a struggle. It's as easy for you to go and move your body as it is to go and find the Oreos.
Right.
Same exact physiological response, except the choice you're making is in your best interest for the goal that you want to accomplish.
Right.
Boom. That's it. So essentially working out is the easiest thing in the world, and it feels like ice cream every day. We can create that. It's a choice. So how do we do that? Same thing. You want to start to be super keenly aware of when you're feeling a little bit of a dip. When you start to feel that, like, ooh, I feel like a little less than awesome. Our tendency at that point is to reach for something quick and easy, like a food. And our tendency when we start to feel like, ew, is to like not want to move, right? Because like we've conditioned ourselves, and we've been in society where it's like, I'm feeling low, I'm going to grab the food. It's so societally acceptable. But really what that is signifying, like our best way to feel better and our quickest way to drop a massive ton of dopamine along with serotonin and endorphins, and again, creating that euphoria of a runner's high, is from movement. Okay? Like, yes, food does cause that for sure, but movement is just as powerful, if not more powerful. And I don't have the research and the data to back that up, but I'm pretty sure that movement probably generates more of those feel-good hormones than eating any type of food would. I'm pretty sure of that. And I'd say sex would probably be number one. So we do have to be careful, like mindful of that. But again, all of these things, like we need to eat, we need to have sex, and we need to move in order to survive. So of course, all of these things, all of these activities are going to give us a flood of feel-good chemicals. So we just need to link up the workout. So the key is being mindful, being aware of when you start to feel and that's when you want to go, oh, well, if I move my body right now, I know I'm going to feel better. And then the next step is engaging in a physical activity that you enjoy, right? Right? Like like, I would never reach for Oreos. I'd reach for the ice cream. I like ice cream better than Oreos. It's the same thing. It's like, if you don't like running and you're going to go running, you're going to defeat the purpose of getting that shot of dopamine. So make sure that you're like, I'm going to go. And if you are somebody like yourself who exercises a lot, there may be days where your body is saying like, no, running's just not going to do it. I'm not excited about it. Like, you want to find the thing that, like, you think about it and you get that little bit of excitement. You're like, that's what I need to do today. Like, oh, it's nice out. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to listen to a great song. Oh, yeah.
Right.
Because you're already having the dopamine hit. You're already getting that response. Right. And then you're conscious. I want you to be conscious of following it through. I'm going to respond to my body's needs, and I'm going to go for that walk, and I'm going to put my iPhone on to my favorite workout mix, and I'm going to rock and roll. And then the third step is being present in the moment of receiving that and really allowing that imprint to take place, not just on that cellular level and not just in the subconscious link up, but also consciously bring yourself into a presence with it. Like, good job. I just did something to best support my body right now.
Right.
And then the last step is, as you complete the workout, again, full presence in the feeling of euphoria.
Right.
Don't just move on to the next activity, right? When we eat that ice cream, we usually, like, there is that moment of lingering, right? It's like after sex, there's that moment of, like, linger, right?
Right.
So after a workout, and we do it, sometimes we just don't even realize it, but just be aware of the linger. The linger is where the magic is. The linger is where you're like, that's the imprint.
Right.
So now you've created the neural pathway to have your brain refer back to when you start to dip. Now, dip, up, bing, movement.
Right.
And then you can do the same thing with food. You can do the same, like, with anything. It's just stepping into that awareness. So I wanted to unpack that so that you can see the personal power in that, and then laying down the physiology so that, again, what are we doing? We're bringing all of those operating systems into alignment. Your soul knows what it needs, right, to be anchored into that best health.
Right.
Your mind is going to doubt, but you're like, here, mind, here, I got you, because here's what we're going to do about it, and we're going to feel really good, I promise.
Right.
Right? And you're in integrity. There's no, like, it's not like, there's not going to be a feeling of panic or, like, discord, right? Like, so emotionally, you're, like, at ease. Like, there's much more of a relaxation into this, which is what I talk about a lot. And that's how we know that we have all three of those operating systems coming into alignment, right?
Right.
The mental, the physical, and the spiritual.
Right.
Boom.